Hey y'all, welcome to my video. Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, welcome back. So I have my eyeshadow on because I was recording a video before this and I had to scrap it because I was all over the place. So I'm going to do a story time about how I got jumped by not 5, but 10 bitches. Bitches. So I had moved in with my cousin, and we gonna name her Tail. My cousin Tails. So of course we're both single, young, fly, and black. So we start going out to the club, hanging out with dudes, just kicking it, doing what single girls do. And my cousin, she lived by this girl that I know for a fact. Well, yeah, fuck that. I know for a fact that she was giving that coochie up for pennies on the dollar. So yeah, I had moved in with my cousin, and we kicking it, going out, hanging out with dudes, doing what young, fly, pretty black girls do. We rocking and we rolling and we rolling and we rocking. Okay, quit playing, girl. So we kicking it, and my cousin, where was we? We had went to this club called was it The Rock? It was either The Rock or Chilcoot Charlie's. I'm not 100% accurate, so it was either one of those two clubs. And my cousin meet this dude, we gonna call him King, and he was with his cousin, we gonna call him Mufasa. So we got King and Mufasa. So they start coming over to the house, chilling, and of course, you ask the typical questions. Are you single? Are you in a relationship? Of course, we said we were single, and of course they said they were single. So you know how when you meet a dude, you don't know where it's gonna go, so you're not taking it. I don't think her or I were taking the dude serious at first. So we're rocking and we're kicking in with other dudes, of course, and then my cousin had to go out of town. So my cousin, she go out of town. I'm still at the house doing my thing, having company, doing what I do. But when she goes out of town, King and Mufasa, they stopped coming over. But one day, King showed up, knocked on the door, and he was like, "Is Tail here?" And I'm like, "Tail, she went out of town. She'll be here." Whenever I told him she'll be back. So he was like, "Okay, tell her, I stopped by, whoop-de-wop, wop, 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 wop." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to tell her." And of course, when he shows up, there's other dudes over there. So, I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Mufasa been looking for you." And I'm like, "Oh, tell him to call me, whatever." He was like, "Oh, your number's not working." And I'm like, "Yeah, I got a new number. Here's my new number. Give it to him." So he leaves, and either my cousin called me or I called her, and I'm like, "King stopped by to see you." She was like, "Oh, he did?" And I'm like, "Yes, girl, he stopped by." And that was that. So my cousin comes back into town, and we kick it where we left off. They're coming over, we're smoking, they're drinking, we doing what we do. And we all go to sleep, they're upstairs in the room doing what they're doing, whatever, and I'm downstairs. And on this particular night, King came by himself. Mufasa wasn't with him. And I hear somebody beating on the door, like police beating. Like, they wanted to kick that bitch down. And I hear a girl out there talking about, open up the motherfucking door. Open up the motherfucking door. I know you in here. I know you in here. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? So I go to the door and I open it and I'm like, what the fuck you doing? She was like, my baby dad in there, my nigga up in there. And I'm like, who's your nigga? And she like, King, where the fuck is King at? And he must have heard her yelling. No, wait. Either he heard her yelling or I said, look, bitch, you ain't coming up in this house, but you can wait and I'll go see if your man is up in here. Which I already knew he was up in there. So I go upstairs and I'm knocking on the door and I'm like, there's some girl out here yelling and screaming, talking about she looking for King. And my cousin Tail hop up and was like, what? Who the fuck is outside my door? And he was like, I don't know. I'm about to go check. So he goes out. So he's, I guess, putting on his clothes, his pants or whatever, because they were laying down. And he comes down the stairs and he opened the door and this girl, she hauled off and she pimped. And when I say pimp, she put an extra imp up in there. She pimped, slapped his ass. I ain't never seen a dude get smacked that hard. Well, I take that back because when I had slapped the shit out of my son's father before, but that's another story for another day. So she smacks the shit out of him and I'm like, what? She like, you over here with this bitch and you said your mom was sick. You was supposed to be at the hospital. She was punching him, kicking him, hitting him. So me and my cousin just standing, with the door open with our arms crossed, like, you over here and you got a whole baby mom? So, girls. So, this dude proceeds to pick his baby mom up and body slam her. He picked her up and body slammed her on the ground. Talk about a reality check. I catch you over here at some lady house cheating on me, and to add insult to injury, you over here picking me up, body slamming me on the ground in front of these hoes. If I was hurt, I don't even want to put myself in that situation because I might call my husband and bop him upside his head for even thinking he would do me that way. I know, crazy. But anyway, let's move on. So when he picks her up and body slam her, I look at my cousin like, this ain't a nigga you want to keep. Who does that? Don't get me wrong. Yeah, she was putting her hands on him, kicking, slapping, and punching. But to pick her up and body slam her, I'm like, dude, you foul. Because when somebody, you don't know what you'll do if you catch your man cheating. Of course, some of us are like, I ain't calling no bitch. If I have to call a bitch about my man, that ain't my man. But when you in the heat of the moment, fuck all that. I'm calling. I'm asking you, did you know about me? Did he show you where I live? Did you fuck in my bed? And then I'm going to proceed with the threats. Yeah, bitch, I'm going to knock your motherfucking head off. You fucking with my man. I don't play that. I don't condone cheating. I cannot stand a cheater. But here I go rambling. So when he body slammed her, she like, really, King? Really, King? You gonna hit me in front of this bitch? You gonna hit me in front of these hoes? And I'm looking like, bitch, I know you done got body slam, but who the fuck you calling a hoe? It'll be body slam part 2, because I'll pick your ass up and do you worse than how he did you. And of course I did, but let me back up. So all that, we go through that. She's like, in a big van, and she's like limping back to the van, yelling, crying, upset. I kind of feel sorry for her, because it was just a sad, pitiful sight. So King comes back into the house, and we downstairs, and we're smoking. And I'm like, how did she know where you was? He was like, she must have followed me here. She crazy. We ain't together. That's my baby mom. Typical shit a cheater says. That's just my baby mom. I haven't been with her in a year. And then, of course, he was saying that she had cheated on him, and you know what dudes do. So I'm looking at my cousin like, you could believe that if you want, but ain't no girl that ain't with no man gonna sit up there and stalk him unless there's something wrong with her, right? So that day go by, and then like a week went by, and then my cousin started getting these phone calls, and she would be calling my cousin and be taunting her like, oh, I'm laid up with him, I told you he was with me, how you think I got your number, he in my bed sleep right now, you want to come over here and see? And let me tell you something, me and my family, we all bad. Big, fat, big, small, we get them all. I get any man I want. And my cousin can get any man she wants. So the typical shit that girls be saying, you ugly, he was just over there for the and that's why he kept coming back, because that was good, okay? So she doing all that, talking about they want to meet up and fight us. And of course, her homegirls is in the back talking all that rah-rah. And I'm like, I'm not the 1, 2, or the 3. If you want to meet up, skeet, skirt, and pull up. So I'm telling them to pull up. So one night, we heard like a bunch of girls like yelling and screaming outside. But they were riding by, and remember I told you she pulled up in a big old van? They were riding by in like a kidnapper's van, and it was just like yelling and screaming, and I'm like, what is that proving? I mean, like, you literally hopped up in a van, probably left your kids at home alone to come over here and stalk some bad bitches. Like, that is pathetic. So I'm now looking at my cousin like, girl, don't even waste your time on his ass, because if he cheat on her, he gonna cheat on you. But when you young, we don't ever expect it's gonna be us. So he telling her, when I go over there and see my kids, she be going through my phone, blah, 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 blah. So my cousin, she eating it up. He still keeps coming over to kick it. Mufasa slowly starts to fade out, because I'm like, if you think you're gonna have some bitches showing up here knocking on the door and harassing me, I ragtag ass, so that ain't gonna work out well. And I ain't catching no felony over no nigga. I said what I said. So that starts to fade out. So the girl had called again, and I think this was a Friday or Saturday, talking about, oh, I got him at my house, bitch, when I see you on everything, I'm gonna put my hands on you, talking about she gonna do this, that, and this. So I take the phone from my cousin, And I'm like, she might not want to fight you, bitch, but you ain't gonna do shit. So stop. You call this phone again, it's gonna be a problem between me and you, because she ain't calling your phone. You calling her phone. Clearly, you the one that's pressed. And in my opinion, y'all fighting over a nigga that don't even matter. You can find a man with way much more fatter pockets. Believe me. Believe me. But you know, we all, even me, you know, later on down the line, you know, you get caught up. You with somebody, you love them, they're cheating on you. You trying to, you know, scare the hoes off. He coming back telling you some bullshit. You believe in it. You know, we all fall victim to a heartless ass nigga. Because that's what they are. They ain't men. They niggas. So they dropped the location. They like, we at such and such. So I'm like, hey, strap your boots on. We about to handle business. And mind you, my cousin, she is a little old petite thing. She is tiny. His baby mom, she was like, you know, she wasn't fat. She was a hefty girl, you know, like me. Back then, of course, I was much smaller. But yeah, so, you know, they dropped the pin. And we go meet. And when we met them, unfortunately, we running out of time. You guys have to wait for part 2. Bye.